Okay, so yesterday I got a chance to go out and see Captain America Brave New World, and I have to tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. I walked in there with zero expectations, um, and really ended up enjoying the movie a lot more than I thought it was going to. It was not a perfect film. It clearly was not the best that the MCU has delivered, but I'd say it was the best thing I've seen out of them since the end of Phase 3. The hole that they have dug for themselves with Phase 4, um, everything that came with that is substantial. So it's going to take a while for them to climb out of that, but this was a good first attempt. And it wasn't as good as Captain America the Winter Soldier or the original Captain America or Civil War, but it had that kind of feel. And it was nice to see them put forward something that was just not an action comedy. So I was really excited about that. Walked out of there very pleased and got my money's worth. So that's what I've got to say. Now, this is going to be a spoiler-free review, but I will get into some details of the plot in a sort of overarching kind of way. The story takes place now with Harrison Ford, who actually, for me, was the best part of the film, starring as Thunderbolt Ross, who has now become the president of the United States. The last time we saw Thunderbolt Ross, I think it was in Civil War. He was there briefly at the end of Endgame, but he was Secretary of State, and now he has advanced to the presidency. And he is petitioning Sam Wilson, a.k.a. the new Captain America, to reassemble the Avengers, but to do it under the auspices of the U.S. government, sort of a U.S.-sanctioned Avengers. Now, that may be as much as I get into it, because from there, the action kind of unfolds, and Captain America, along with his new Falcon, are trying to solve this crisis that could lead to a world war. And that's maybe as much as I'll get into it. Let's start out with some of the things that weren't so hot. There were several action sequences, and I remember seeing a particular clip, I think, that they had released, and I was telling all of my friends that the fight choreography looked terrible. And so when I got to that particular scene, which was at the start of the movie, it wasn't as bad as I thought it looked the first time when I saw it in its full context. So it wasn't terrible. But clearly they are struggling with their CGI or SFX, however you want to phrase it, because there were some substantial action scenes in the middle or towards the end of the film where I was like, oh, this just, it doesn't look good. Now, again, as I said, the MCU has dug itself quite a hole, but I'm also not part of the fan base that says it has to be all or nothing. A film can be just a fun, exciting outing, a popcorn film. It doesn't have to be Infinity War every time. It doesn't have to be Lawrence of Arabia. It doesn't have to be James Cameron's Aliens. It would be great if it was, don't misunderstand me, but it doesn't have to be. This was not. It was just a solid popcorn flick, and I enjoyed it. How can I put this? Anthony Mackie, I've been a fan of Anthony Mackie for a good long while now. I remember him in $1 Million Baby. He was part of the 8 Mile, Free World. He was sort of the villain in that, the lead bad guy in that Eminem flick that I only saw one time, but it's worth one watch. But Anthony Mackie is not 21 years old anymore. And now he has taken the reins as Captain America. To me, he still does not fill the shoes of Captain America, but I liked in the film how they sort of addressed that, because he deals with a lot of imposter syndrome. He feels that he's a fraud, and I think he's correct in a sense. I don't know that he's the guy to be Captain America, but he is. And so by addressing that in the film, I appreciated that. There are tough shoes to fill following Steve Rogers. They're impossible shoes to fill. And I find that throughout the comics, especially after the death of Captain America, several people attempt to take his place, even Frank Castle, the Punisher, and realize that they can't live up to it. So the fight sequences, he's not an enhanced guy. He's not juiced. So he's sort of limited in what he can do in these fight sequences. Some of the shield work, I wasn't exactly crazy about, because I was like, okay, that just, that's a bit much. It's a bit of a stretch. But, I'm not sitting here trying to pick every particular thing apart. I'm not doing that either. And overall, I thought it was a good film. Harrison Ford was the highlight for me of the film. I mean, you've got Han Solo himself. You've got Indiana Jones himself playing now the President of the United States. We've seen him do that before in Wolfgang Petersen's Air Force One, and we know that he can be a badass. And he was in this. But he plays it well as someone who is trying to change, and trying to be better, but he is also attempting to do so without acknowledging the sins of his past. He's just trying to sort of push them off into a corner, and those come back to bite him in a big way in this film, in terms of him becoming, because it's not really a secret that he becomes the Red Hulk. I thought he did a fantastic job as the Red Hulk. I was glad to see a rampaging Hulk again. I missed that. I've not been a fan, really, of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. I think that my favorite Hulk, believe it or not, is Ang Lee's interpretation that he is just this behemoth that heaves tanks, a mile, and just, decimates, whatever is in his path. I haven't been a fan of, this sort of gentler and then, kinder Hulk, the smart Hulk, being self-deprecating. Yeah, I'm just kind of over that. I'd like to see some testosterone, some rampage. And I thought it was good. I thought it was a good look for the Hulk. That battle scene I thought was considerable. Good stuff. Smaller details I'll get into. Let's just say I thought it was a little on the lazy side that they gave him a Wakandan suit. Like Captain America gets a Wakandan suit, and it's just kind of an easy fix. Could have done that a little better. I actually liked his first suit from the Winter Soldier, and how he sort of evolved in these other suits. But this, with the mask and, the vibranium that could absorb, impact and concussion, it felt a little lazy. There are some other characters in there. One played by Giancarlo Esposito. Giancarlo Esposito, I've been a fan of for about 30 years now, so it's always great to see him in just about anything. He's not a huge character in this, but, he plays a substantial role, and, when he's there, he kind of steals the scene. I don't have a problem with it. Also, the introduction of adamantium. And I know a lot of people are like, the nerds are like freaking out. Oh my God, blah, 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 how could you introduce it this way? Da, 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 da. I didn't have a problem with it. The introduction or the reintroduction of this celestial being, to me, looks a lot like Galactus. Is there. I think they're going to handle that. And because I saw someone, I think Robert Meyer Burnett was saying, how can you introduce this thing that has been there for decades when for, 4 phases now, no one's really talked about it at all. And then all of a sudden they're just talking about it when supposedly it's been there on Earth for decades. Now they're getting around to it. I think that's going to be addressed. I don't know how well it's going to be addressed, but I think it's going to be addressed in the upcoming Fantastic Four, which is actually a prequel set in the 60s or 70s. So I think they're setting up towards that. It's, unclear how well they're going to be able to pull it off. I'm rooting for it. The Fantastic Four looks pretty good so far. I was a big Fantastic Four fan back in the day. For me, overall, action, fun, solid performances from Anthony Mackie, from Harrison Ford. Nice to see Liv Tyler again. A few other surprises here and there. Giancarlo Esposito. Action was pretty good. Special effects, not so great. Some other things, kind of lazy. But, I mean, the fact that I walked in there expecting baseline, like 0, and ended up getting this, I'll tell you what, I don't know if I'm being generous or not. I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 because the American Werewolf channel has a rating system that goes from 0 to 5, up by halves. 3.5 out of 5. If I were you and you get an opportunity, this movie, yeah, go see it on the big screen. It's a good time. That's my video. Like this video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Are you going to see it? Did you see it? Are you not going to see it? If not, why? Are you waiting for it on Disney Plus? I just talked to a buddy of mine. I think he said he was glad to hear that I thought it was good, but, you know, probably not going to spend money for it at the theater. He'll wait for it on Disney Plus. What's your plan? Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification button. I will see you all in the next one. Okay, take care, everyone. God bless you. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. This is the American Werewolf. Thanks for stopping by. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button. Thank you.